I've just enjoyed a very special and very rare privilege, a privilege I'd love to share with you. I've just left a legend who defeated the harsher side of nature. Her name is Miss Peggy Lee. I last met her a generation ago when I was perhaps less wise and certainly less cynical. But meeting her again, well, it brought back a youth in me that I thought I'd long lost. It brought back a youth in me that no elixir could provide. I hope it does the same for you.
I light up when you call my name. You know I'm gonna treat you right. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight.
It burned up the charts like a raging inferno. And today, at 69, Miss Peggy Lee is still aflame.
Give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight.
Her words are ever so slightly sultry, but her voice has the innocence still of a child asking money for an ice cream. On stage, her world was always a hit parade, but life has been a series of battles for the little Scandinavian girl born in North Dakota. While a more innocent era clapped their hands raw with applause, Miss Peggy Lee fought ferocious illness. Your illnesses, you've been besieged by just about anything that would kill off the Russian army.
It's almost embarrassing. I really don't even remember them all now. I've had so many surgeries and rare things wrong that it would take much too long for your program.
Coming for to carry me home.
Like a champion boxer who refuses to quit, Miss Peggy Lee still dazzles the audience behind a semi-paralyzed face, debilitating eyesight, diabetes, heart attacks, and crippled bones. I still don't know where you get your energy from. Why don't you just quit and enjoy your house and your cat? Why are you still going like this?
Well, if I could say, I'm not ready for that final disappointment.
She is wheelchair bound, but can you believe that this woman, after 50 years of enchanting 2 generations, is back on the road performing 2 shows a night? Tonight, it is Washington.
Miss Peggy Lee.
Thank you. Better than falling down. I won't dance, don't ask me. I won't dance, don't ask me.
When Miss Peggy Lee is on stage here, surrounded by the tools of the trade, that she really comes to life. She lights up like a beautiful Christmas tree and becomes 69 years young. You know, in Los Angeles, there's a joke that Miss Peggy Lee has redecorated half the homes in Hollywood because she keeps on buying and selling new homes, moving all the time. And maybe the reason is that this is her real home, the stage.
Yes, when the saints come marching in, when the saints go marching in.
What happens to you when you physically walk on that stage and you see the spotlight?
It starts all of the adrenaline going and all of the... I'm especially pleased right now that I'm able to walk on the stage. And I haven't been able to walk for a couple of years. And then gradually, every day it's better.
Today, 600 records, 60 albums, and 4 marriages later, she looks back on an odyssey that started with a musical icon called Benny Goodman.
You had plenty money, 1922. You let other women make a fool of you.
Benny was very nice to me. Again, I think he thought of me as his little sister or something. Because he gave orders that none of the musicians were to come near me. No fraternizing with the girl singers.
In fact, the love of Miss Lee's life, guitarist Dave Barber, was fired by Goodman when their romance blossomed. They played together.
He said someday the worm would turn.
Loved together. And eventually, as alcohol clouded his life, they divorced.
Miss Lee, you've been married 4 times, but may I be presumptuous enough to say that you've probably only had one great love?
Well, I've had more than one great love, but the greatest love was David Barber. And the other marriages they probably should have been annulled. It was during that time that, if you were trying to be proper or something, you'd get married.
As each marriage faded, so did her health. At one point, Miss Lee says she died in a hospital bed and then came back to life because of a strong religious belief. A gentle mix of Christianity and the Eastern Masters.
Do you think you'd actually died there in that hospital bed for a split second?
Yes. I had the greatest feeling of peace and serenity, and I knew that if I could live, if I got back in that body and accepted whatever came with it, that would be going back to the pain and living through that, or else I could go on in this state of serenity. And I chose to come back.
And come back she did. Not only is she pounding away at a tour that could sell a moose, she is even planning a new album.
How do you like these diamonds? Don't these diamonds shine? How do you like these rings and things? Can you believe they're mine? I'm so very grateful for the nose on my face. I'm so glad it holds my glasses firmly in place.
And can you believe she has just written her autobiography? No ghostwriter, she wrote it herself. Miss Lee looks back at a brutal childhood, 11 years of hell.
Your stepmother was very brutal.
Yes. It became a way of life.
You'd get a beating.
Mm-hmm. For anything. And I'd say it toughened me up. I've often referred to it as boot camp.
She fled Jamestown, North Dakota as Norma Eggstrom and arrived in Hollywood as Miss Peggy Lee. She would become a household name. Capitol Records overlooking fabled Hollywood and Vine. In the 50s and 60s, Miss Peggy Lee made so much money for Capitol Records, they literally called this building the house that Peggy built. So in 1969, she went to the executives and said, now, there's a number I'd like to record. They looked and listened. They said it was too long, too complex, too boring. But Miss Lee held her ground, and she recorded a tune that was too long, too complex, and too boring. It was called...
Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friend, then let's keep dancing.
It would astound the music world, and she went on to win the coveted Grammy Award. And she would go on to movies and an Oscar nomination for Pete Kelly's Blues.
He's granulated sugar. I never cheat on my sugar.
She was a toast of Hollywood and its stars.
What was the most exhilarating moment of your professional life?
The thing that flashed into my mind just then was maybe meeting Cary Grant. He had such charisma. It was just incredible. Every time he'd walk into the room, it's like everything lit up. Just a fantastic man.
Hollywood was her own personal playpen, and the stars were her family as she battled illness after illness. Entertainer Danny Thomas is always by her side.
She has a lot of courage, and she's certainly a role model for people who are in pain, people who are physically handicapped in one way or another. And all these things, they came so fast, one after another. And she's won. She has won. There's no question about it. Peggy Lee defeated nature.
You must believe in yourself. And if there's something that you want to accomplish, you absolutely can. Ask and you shall receive. But don't forget to thank it. I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
Miss Peggy Lee, thank you. What more can I say?
Is there a darker side to the Pete Rose story? That's next.
Any other questions?
Yes, Pete, could you explain the relationship with Joe Campbell?
Thank you.